It was a warm summer afternoon in Mexico City in 2020. Maria, a 26-year-old woman, had just finished her shift working as a barista at the local cafe La Cafecita. As she walked the few blocks from the cafe to her small apartment, she looked forward to putting her feet up and relaxing after a long day. But just as she approached her apartment building, 2 police officers suddenly grabbed her from behind. "Maria Gomez, you are under arrest for the burglary at Don Pepe's jewelry store," one officer stated sternly. Maria was shocked. "What? No, you've made a mistake. I didn't steal anything," she cried out. But the officers ignored her pleas. One of them shouted angrily, "We have evidence that you were the one who stole from the jewelry store." Maria shook her head frantically. "No, that can't be. I've never stolen anything in my life." The other officer snarled as he grabbed her roughly by the arms. "Don't lie to us. We have proof it was you. Now come along quietly or we'll drag you there in handcuffs." "No!" Maria screamed, trying to pull away. "I'm innocent. Let me go." But the officers were relentless. They forcibly tied her hands behind her back and shoved her into the back of the police car. Maria begged and pleaded with them to listen, but her cries fell on deaf ears. As the car sped towards the police station, tears streamed down her face. She was trapped in a nightmare for a crime she did not commit. When they arrived at the police station, Maria was still crying and proclaiming, "It's not me! You have the wrong person!" The chief officer shouted angrily at her, "Enough with your lies! We have video evidence of you stealing the jewelry. I'm going to show you right now." He forced Maria to watch the security footage from the jewelry store. Though blurry, the video showed a woman who looked similar to Maria sneaking into the store after hours and taking items off the displays. "That's not me! It's too blurry to tell! Please, you have to believe me!" Maria pleaded desperately. But the chief officer refused to listen. "Save your breath. The evidence clearly shows your guilt. Now sign this confession or you'll be stuck here even longer." Maria shook her head defiantly. "No, I refuse to sign a false confession. I'm innocent." The officers glared at her coldly. One of them said, "Have it your way then. We'll take you to the prison now. When you finally decide to sign the confession, you let us know." They roughly grabbed Maria's arms and led her out of the interrogation room. She struggled against them, crying out, "Please, you're making a mistake. I didn't do this." But the officers remained stoic as they forced her into another police car, ignoring her desperate pleas of innocence. The car sped off towards the city prison, every mile taking Maria further from her normal life and closer to a harsh, unjust imprisonment. Maria trembled as she entered the cold, unforgiving prison. The guards and procedures were strict and designed to instill fear. A burly guard barked at her, "What's your name, new inmate?" Maria Gomez," she stammered. "Not anymore," the guard shouted. "Here, your name is your inmate number and nothing else. Your number is now 75392. Remember it." Maria tried to repeat the number in her head so she wouldn't forget. "Now go change into your uniform," the guard ordered. "No dawdling." The guard roughly escorted Maria to a small, dingy room. "Strip down so we can search you for contraband," he barked. Maria hesitated, uncomfortable with disrobing in front of this man. But she had no choice. She slowly removed her clothes as the guard watched menacingly. "Here is your uniform," he said gruffly, shoving an orange jumpsuit and shoes at her. "Put it on now." Maria's hands shook as she pulled on the scratchy prison uniform that now identified her as an inmate. The guard got right in her face and sneered, "I said change clothes in front of me. Don't try anything sneaky now." Ashamed and powerless, Maria changed into the orange jumpsuit under the guard's cruel gaze, the last of her dignity stripped away on this horrific day. Then they took her to another room and roughly fingerprinted her. A female guard grabbed Maria's hand and inked each finger, pressing them firmly onto the paper despite Maria's whimpers of pain. "We need your prints for our records." the guard stated coldly. No squirming. After fingerprinting, Maria was photographed for her new inmate ID. The flash from the camera nearly blinded her as it captured the image of her long black hair and defeated face. The guard glared at her. "We didn't get to shaving your head yet," he growled. Maria's heart sank, knowing her long, beautiful locks would soon be gone. The guard yanked Maria by the arm into a small concrete room. There was a single chair in the middle and a menacing set of buzz clippers on the table. A moment later, there was a knock at the door. Another guard entered, this one a burly man with a stern face.
"Barber, this one needs her head shaved as part of prison intake,"
the first guard stated. The barber nodded curtly. As the guard left and shut the door, the barber turned to Maria. "What's your name, inmate?" he asked in a strict, commanding voice. "Maria," she stammered, shaking with fear. The barber forced Maria down into the chair and tied an apron tightly around her neck. He picked up the sharp, buzzing clippers, a cruel smile on his face. The barber, Tam, barked at her. "You are just a number here in prison. Do you understand?" Suddenly, he slapped her hard across the face. Maria cried out in pain and shock. "I said, do you understand?" Tam yelled. "Now tell me, what is your name here?" Maria trembled, tears in her eyes. I don't have a name, just a number." "That's right," Tam said coldly. "You're nothing but number 75392 now. Don't you ever forget it." He grabbed her roughly by the hair and yanked her head down, bringing the buzzing clippers to her scalp. "No squirming, number 75392. We have strict rules here and your head shave is just beginning," Tam snarled as he began aggressively shearing off Maria's long locks. Maria squeezed her eyes shut, sobbing as her long locks fell to the floor beneath the buzzing clippers. This nightmare was only getting worse. The barber, Tam, suddenly stopped shearing her hair. He placed the clippers down on the small table with a menacing click. "Don't move," he ordered Maria harshly. Tam grabbed a can of shaving cream and sprayed a generous amount into his hands. He then roughly massaged the cream all over Maria's shorn head, covering every inch of exposed scalp. "We need a nice, smooth shave," Tam declared with a cruel smile. Maria whimpered, her head throbbing from Tam's harsh touch. She dared not move a muscle, terrified of what he might do. Tam slowly picked the clippers back up, the buzzing sound filling the small concrete room. "Time to take it all off," he sneered. He forced Maria's head down and began ruthlessly shearing off the remains of her hair. The clippers scraped painfully across her scalp as Tam ensured every last lock fell.